You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Good morning. Happy Thursday. Happy Jupiter Day. How is everybody feeling? We're coming off of yesterday's energy, that Scorpio moon. What else did we have going on yesterday? Oh, that trine between Venus and Uranus still playing out in the background. We talked about that a lot yesterday. So that energy will actually be with us through February 4th. If you're feeling shifts in your values, in your relationships, in your investments, that's probably why. And go back to yesterday's video. You can learn more about that energy that's kind of overarching and playing out. So today we're talking all about the Sagittarius moon. The moon moved into Sagittarius late last night. And we're going to be talking about what's going on with Mercury retrograde. Because really over the past few days, a theme I keep seeing coming up in the transits is this midpoint, or this position we are between the past and the future. During this retrograde season, we have Venus retrograde through Saturday, Mercury retrograde through February 3rd. We have been asked to look back, reflect. A lot of things from the past have been coming up, especially with these retrogrades in Capricorn, which very much puts the focus on the past. So we've been really thinking about the past, but also we have Uranus stationing direct. We are in Aquarius season, very future forward thinking. And today's headline transit is a trine between Mercury retrograde and the North Node. Now, the North Node isn't a major planet. It's just a point, along the moon's, or it's not even a point along the moon's path. It represents a point in the moon's axis, essentially. So, this isn't this major energy we're going to feel, but I think all of the transits give us an opportunity for reflection and to really assess our own energy. So I think this transit is coming at a very specific time. There are no accidents because we have a conjunction between Mercury retrograde and Pluto tomorrow. So that's kind of what we're leading up towards. And so I think it's a nice moment today to reflect with this connection between Mercury retrograde and the North Node. Oh, good morning to you, Cheyenne. Coffee, tarot, and transits. I'm so grateful you made me part of your morning routine. I have my coffee too. Always have to have the coffee to get me awake to do this. So grateful you are here. Okay, let's pull up the chart so I can show you what's going on. So, as I mentioned, the main transit we're talking about today is a trine between Mercury retrograde, which is now back in Capricorn over here, 28 degrees, and then the North Node is at 28 degrees in Taurus. So simultaneously, the North Node and the South Node are always exactly opposite each other. Simultaneously, Mercury is making a nice supportive connection to the South Node. So this is all around good energy when it comes to the angles that Mercury is making to these 2 points. And before we jump into what that means, take a look at this. Mercury and Pluto, very close to one another, within 2 degrees of each other this morning. Let me jump back into, okay, perfect. Now we're on time. But if you see by the end of the day, the two of them will be within a degree of each other, and then tomorrow night they form a conjunction. So Mercury and Pluto are getting close to each other. We're going to start to feel that conjunction energy by the end of the day today. However, let's talk about what's going on with the North Node and Mercury, because we'll dive into that conjunction between Mercury and Pluto tomorrow. Don't you worry. Today, though, when Mercury and the North Node harmonize, it goes back to this theme I was just talking about. We're reflecting on the past, but also gaining some insight about the future. Now, with Mercury retrograde, it's not like we're having these clear visions or insights about like psychic downloads necessarily about the future, because Mercury retrograde still makes things a little bit muddled. But Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, which is about long-term goals. Capricorn is like the past and the future kind of all in one sign. That's how I view it, at least. So when these two bodies or planets or points harmonize, we're reflecting on the past during Mercury retrograde season. We're reassessing those long-term plans now that Mercury moved back into Capricorn. We're re-examining fears as well. Capricorn rules karma, and it's something we don't often talk about, but being ruled by Saturn, Capricorn tends to be a worrier. If you know Capricorns or major Capricorn placements, they tend to worry a lot. They can easily see what could go wrong. And that's not to say that's a bad quality, because Capricorns are protectors. They're very much aware of how actions are going to affect the big picture. So that's why they tend to be a little bit of overanalyzers, overthinkers, worriers. And so when Mercury retrograde is in Capricorn, we are really reassessing our long-term plans and re-examining our fears, as we mentioned, because there's a lot of fear when it comes to Capricorn energy. Again, not always a bad thing. It's like a healthy dose of fear, but we are re-examining those fears. And we can, in this moment, this is exact at noon when Mercury and the North Node harmonize. In this moment, we can really visualize our purpose under this aspect, because the North Node rules our purpose. It rules the lessons we are here to learn in this lifetime. We can easily take all the work we've been doing during retrograde season, maybe these epiphanies we've had, these realizations we've had, this new view of our values, what's important to us, how we're communicating, all these things that might have come up for you during Mercury retrograde. We can now see the purpose of them. We can extract the lessons from them. And it's all part of this juxtaposition that's been building over the past couple days between the past and the future, helping us understand what we need to let go of and leave in the past in order to actually flow with our purpose and lean into the lessons we're here to learn and the lessons we're here to teach once we learn them. It's okay, though, if you're still trying to figure things out. This isn't a moment to make a decision or jump headfirst into your purpose or whatever it is. This is just this nice moment to have a little bit more clarity or be able to, like I said, just pull the lesson more easily. When Mercury stations direct on February 3rd, it will make this same connection with the North Node again, because remember, look at the chart here. Mercury is moving back. It's going to stop probably right over here before it hits the middle of Capricorn, and then it'll start moving back forward. So it'll make another conjunction with Pluto as well, I believe, and also make the same connection with the North Node. So this is kind of like a little preview of like the lessons we're learning. It's like, if the North Node is a teacher, the North Node is like, hey, here's the lesson plan for this retrograde season. Here's what you were here to learn. And then once Mercury goes direct and it makes the same connection again, it passes over these same planets, those lessons will kind of become solidified, become part of our foundation, and become more clear. So next time we can expect those answers, lessons, we can expect to take action. This is just like this little hit. Even it could come through as like an intuitive hit of like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be learning right now. This is what I'm supposed to be releasing right now, whatever it may be. Also, as we are coming up on the new moon on Monday, this is a really good time to release, let go, surrender. It's a time to just flow. So surrender to whatever lessons the universe is trying to teach you, and they could be more noticeable or easier to extract with this trine between Mercury retrograde and the North Node today. Capricorn rising here. I for sure worry over it all and assess all what ifs. Yeah, my partner has stellium in Capricorn. He's very much a Capricorn. I draw in the Capricorns. Some of my best friends are Capricorns, and they can be very much serious or worrisome, but they're also steady. They're steadfast because they've thought everything through. We all need that Capricorn energy. Because, like today we have a Sagittarius moon, and one of the transits today, it's like definitely not Capricorn energy. It's like, woo, have fun. But if we were like that all the time, if that was the energy all the time, we'd get ourselves into a lot of trouble. So Capricorn energy is kind of that like fatherly, slow down, okay, and Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, as it moved back into Capricorn at the beginning of the week, helps us slow down a little bit as well. So there are definitely some positives to that Capricorn energy. And as I mentioned, the moon is in Sagittarius, so let's talk about it. It moved into Sagittarius at 11:30 p.m. Pacific time, and as this is a waning moon, we just talked about leading up to the new moon. It asks us to surrender this moon phase, but especially in Sagittarius, this is all about trust and belief, especially if you're going through chaos, anything hectic right now. Retrograde seasons got you kind of spinning. I get it. Trust is all happening for a reason. Trust that you're supported, that it's all going to work out. That's what this waning moon in Sagittarius is asking us to do through the end of the week, especially as we're coming into that conjunction between Mercury retrograde and Pluto too, which could be this pivotal moment in the retrograde cycle right before Venus goes direct. It could be, Venus, we'll talk about this more tomorrow. I don't want to get too into it today, but we've got this death and rebirth, this change of brewing as Mercury's coming into this conjunction. It's like you're on the roller coaster. Just strap yourselves in, hold on, and trust that the roller coaster car is going to make it all the way around that loop, okay? Also, though, there is a fun side to the Sagittarius moon. It makes us more upbeat, adventurous, spontaneous, and having new adventures, being open to expansion can actually help you, as we've been talking about this past-future juxtaposition. These new adventures can help you rewrite the old stories. Because, I'm sure you've experienced this. You try something new that's really amazing and it makes you see your whole world differently. Or even if you do something differently, like you're willing to just stray from the routine for today, you might be able to see things from a higher perspective just because you followed your intuition, you followed that spontaneous spark. So don't be afraid to do that today. But if you do that, don't go overboard, because the main connection the Sagittarius moon is making today is a square to Jupiter, and that happens at 10 a.m. So take a look at our chart here. Let me jump back. And you'll see in about an hour or two, here it is, the moon in Sagittarius forming this square to Jupiter in Pisces, that 90-degree angle, a harsh angle, which is very activating and can cause a little bit of aggression normally. Usually squares we're like, ooh, watch out, But when Jupiter is involved in a square, it's actually usually manifests as like positive energy, upbeat energy. You might have woken up or started your day feeling this sense of the energy building. This activates our optimism when the moon and Jupiter square off. And Jupiter is the ruling planet of Sagittarius, and the moon is in Sagittarius. So this is just like this big dose of Sagittarius energy today. And this helps us get an extra pep in our step. See the silver linings, as we've been talking about pulling the lessons. It'll be easier to extract those silver linings when the moon squares off to Jupiter. It can almost force us. It's like, hey, see the positive when the moon squares off to Jupiter. We'll feel extra energized, ready to take on the day. Here's the warning, though. Here's the warning label on this transit. Don't overexert yourself, okay? Because 10 a.m., you might be starting to feel it now. The energy is building. You're like getting all these ideas. You're like, let's go on a hike. Let's go on a trip. Let's, redo our whole house. Whatever it looks like for you. Don't overexert yourself, because Jupiter can in this aspect at least, make us think we have more energy than we actually do, and you can drain yourself of energy before the end of the day if you just go hard when the moon squares off to Jupiter. So use this transit to lean into that optimism, lean into abundance, lean into the good vibes. Just don't dive too far into where you're getting lost, not able to actually focus, work on things, or you just are overexerting yourself and won't have enough energy to actually carry you through the rest of the day. That's definitely a possibility. Okay, the next connection the moon makes is a nice sextile to the sun. This happens right around noon. So right after the moon and Jupiter form this 90-degree angle, the Sagittarius moon gets support from the Aquarius sun. This is at noon, like I said. So this is another really positive transit. And the moon in Sagittarius helps us expand emotionally. It gives us courage. It gives us that extra, spark. But the Aquarius sun is really asking us to express our most authentic selves. Show up as the weirdo that you are. Let your freak flag fly high. So our internal and external selves are actually working hand in hand under this transit right around noon, helping us feel more confident. It'll be easier to relate to others. The Sagittarius moon gives us that spunk or that spark to show up. But once we do, the Aquarius sun, the assignment here is to be your true self. And, by doing that, you can actually inspire other people or connect with other people more easily just by being your most authentic, weird self. Even if you think, is this too much? Am I being crazy? Just do it. Just be yourself today. Okay, that's the assignment. Be yourself. And you might actually make a connection or, but this sextiles, I always tell you this, require a little bit of action or a little bit of work. So you are going to have to tap into the courage a little bit and force yourself to put yourself out there, okay, to gain the full benefits of this transit. But for the most part, if you're willing to do that, you can gain more confidence in yourself, not just today, but long term. Every time we do something hard, it gives us a little bit more confidence. So especially if you have any meetings or you have any situations coming up today where you're like a little nervous, you've got this. That's what this transit is telling you. You got this. Show up as your full, beautiful, amazing, authentic self. Okay? Okay. And then the last connection the moon makes is at 5 p.m. Pacific time, ending our Thursday with an awkward angle between Uranus and the moon. So this is a quincunx or an inconjunct angle. And when Uranus is involved in this angle, this could look like a disruption to the good vibe. That's why I said don't overexert yourself earlier in the day. Could be just a change of mood. It doesn't necessarily have to be negative, but it looks like just some sort of disruption, an energetic shift of some sort by the evening or later tonight. It could also just show up as a feeling of unease after a day full of this uplifting energy, especially if you are feeling more spontaneous or you do something new or, you're feeling really proud of yourself. Sometimes after those instances, at least for me, if I come home and I'm processing everything that happened during the day, sometimes I start to kind of like overanalyze or could that have gone differently? Or just, feeling drained. Like I said, this could definitely be feeling drained, especially with Uranus and Taurus. It kind of brings in that earth energy like, whoa, you had all the fire today. You put yourself out there, good job, but like, let's take it easy now. So, if you feel a shift in energy later tonight, all of the moon's transits only last a few hours. We only feel the energy for a few hours. So, just give yourself some rest tonight. Allow yourself to flow through whatever energetic change comes through, and you should be just fine. Don't overexert yourself. That's just kind of the main moon transit of the day. But also, have fun. Lean into abundance. We love an awkward angle. Quincunx is a weird word to say. So I figure it's easier for you guys to understand me just saying this is an awkward, imbalanced angle. And I'll show you on the chart here too what I'm talking about. The moon, 10 degrees Sagittarius. So if it was in opposition, it would be in Gemini, right? Because the opposite of Sagittarius is Gemini. But one sign off, it's like these two planets are coming into an opposition. They're trying to balance each other out and they're just not on the same page. you know. This could also just look like irritation later tonight because Uranus and Taurus is this like rebellious, like I just want to be cozy, I want to be comfy, I'm like I got to change things up. Where Sagittarius is like, we're going out, we're having fun, we're having drinks, keep the party going. And Uranus and Taurus could come in and be like, no, it's a Thursday night. Okay, save it for the weekend. I'm just giving these planets voices now. So that's what's going on with the energy today. Let's do a little wrap up. And then I almost just spilled my coffee. Then we'll pull a card. In fact, I'm going to take a drink of this coffee. Look at how, I think I've shown you guys this mug before. Look how cute it is. My favorite Christmas gift this year. Taurus loves the home life. Yeah. So, and Sagittarius is like, get me out of the house, you know? So that's where these planets are not on the same page. And they're like, there's this awkwardness or this shift of energy for sure. Okay. So today we're putting a little more focus on Mercury retrograde. Mercury is coming into a conjunction with Pluto tomorrow, but today Mercury retrograde harmonizes with the North Node and supports the South Node, really putting the focus on the past during this retrograde season, what we're reviewing, what we're reassessing, what we're letting go of, and then also the future. What are the lessons we're pulling from this? Who are we becoming? And what's our purpose in this lifetime? You might not get all the answers about these things today, but this transit will likely have you start thinking about them. And after Mercury's retrograde ends on February 3rd, you can gain some more clarity when Mercury passes back over these points yet again. The moon is in Sagittarius, making us feel more spontaneous, upbeat, optimistic, and it squares off to Jupiter to start our day, which could give us a real surge of energy. Just be careful not to overdo it, not to overexert yourself, because you could end up drained by the end of the day. Right around noon, the moon and the sun lock into this supportive angle, helping us feel more confident and show up as our authentic self. Don't be afraid to let your freak flag fly today. We end the day with that awkward angle between the moon and Uranus, which brings a shift of energy that could be more of an energetic drain, or your body telling you, okay, slow down, you overdid it today, or it's just time for some rest. So we start the day with this really high energy, and by the end of the day, we're starting to slow down and lean more into our home and just reassess what's been going on with our energy all day. I just see this energy as like a spike, on a graph, and then at the end of the day, it's like back down to normal or maybe even below normal. All right, here's what deck I'm pulling from, the Starseed Oracle. All this talk about the past and the future, I'm like, we need some Starseed wisdom. Okay, and while I shuffle, this is always the time to ask questions. Let me know how the energy is feeling for you. Let me know how Mercury retrograde has been going for you. It's starting to feel less retrograde-y for me. That's not a word, but it's starting to get a little easier, at least on my end. I'm wondering if you're feeling that as well. And Venus stations direct this weekend, thank goodness. Retrograde season is almost over, you guys. In a week, retrograde season will be over. Thank goodness. What do we need to know today? What do we need to know as we are reflecting on the past, envisioning our future? What wisdom do we need? Very much Sagittarius moon energy. It says, jump in. Andromedan energy, adventure, say yes to the change. Oh my goodness. I've never pulled this card from this deck. And, I can't, the camera won't focus if I hold it. Oh, maybe it will. Can you kind of see? It's like a little lady or somebody diving into the cosmos, but also the cosmos look like an eye. So cool. Jump in. Say yes to change. What does the guidebook have for us? Let me find it. Already, I'm just like, this is that square between the moon and Jupiter. Like, just have fun today. Do it differently. Release expectation. Be spontaneous. Let's see. Jump in. Andromedan energy, adventure, say yes to change. Andromeda is a spiral galaxy, the closest galaxy to the Milky Way. It's believed that Andromedan starseeds are a group of beings who love their freedom. Very adaptable, they have a strong willingness and ability to change and go with the flow. To find calm in the chaos, to swim with the tides, this card is here to encourage you to do the same. Perhaps you have a significant goal or opportunity ahead of you. If so, you're being guided to jump in. Don't wait for permission. Don't stall until you feel ready. Take a deep breath, a good old run up, and jump right on in. Life bends for the courageous, and courageous is what you're being called to be. You're already facing the right direction. The only thing left to do is leap. You'll figure out the details as you go along. Things may not always be smooth sailing. Life on Earth rarely is. However, it's the rougher seas that teach us how to sail with glory. And once you know how to do that, you can navigate any sea, ocean, or storm. The Andromedans want you to fall in love with surfing the waves of life, to seek more adventures, to embrace your own adaptability, and find a way to be the calm in the chaos. You didn't come to Earth to be passive. You came to Earth to truly live. Now, take a good run up and leap. I don't know why I'm always so surprised that the cards are perfect, but they're always perfect. And this one especially, you know, when the guidebook was talking about Andromedan energy, all I heard was Sagittarius, 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 freedom, adventure, jumping in, having this passion, this zest for life. Lean into that Sagittarius moon energy. In this moon phase, surrender to it. Allow yourself to have a little fun. It'll be easier to do that today with this square between the moon and Jupiter. If you have some freedom, flexibility in your day-to-day, this is the time, I'm telling you right now, put something fun on your calendar, or don't even put it on your calendar at all. Just drop what you're doing and go do something fun. Do something that will inspire you, lift you up. It doesn't even have to make sense. It doesn't have to help you achieve a goal or anything like that. Just do something fun. Have fun today. And that can help you move through whatever changes you're experiencing during Mercury retrograde. Also, as our main transit today is this harmony between Mercury retrograde and the North Node, having fun, leaning into things that light you up can actually reveal to you your purpose more easily, right? Because that's what we're here to do. We're here as humans on Earth to live. We're here to feel. We're here to have fun. We're here to experience what it is to be a human on Earth, you know? So I know we all want to achieve our long-term goals and make the money and have the kids and get married and, you know, have the dream house, all the things. We want those things, you know. We have 4 planets in Capricorn right now. We're still very much practically thinking about the future and what we want in life, how to protect ourselves. But today is your permission slip. Go have fun. Having fun, being free, being spontaneous can actually help you get all those things faster because it can open you up to consciousness, understanding, wisdom that you weren't open to when you were just sitting at the desk and plugging away towards your goals. That's what I have to say about that. Oh, I love this card. I'm just going to keep this on my desk all day. I needed this. I needed this invitation to have fun. I've been working so hard this week, you guys. I've been doing like double, triple shifts. I work for myself, so it's not a shift, but I needed this. I'm so happy right now. Woo, feeling that buzz of the moon and Jupiter already. Jump in. Yay. Okay. That's going to do it for this episode of Transits Today. I'll be back tomorrow morning talking all about that conjunction between the moon, or not the moon, excuse me, the conjunction between Mercury retrograde and Pluto, and also talking you through this weekend. Venus stationing direct. What else do we have going on this weekend? Let's see. Venus stations direct on Saturday, and then the sun squares off to Uranus on Sunday. So I'll talk you through all of that tomorrow. And then I want to give you a little heads up now, because instead of going live for the new moon on Monday morning, I'm actually going to be hopping a flight to Hawaii. So excited. So I'm going to go live this Sunday evening. I haven't decided exactly what time yet. So if you're watching, comment below and let me know what would be a good time for you on Sunday or Sunday evening to tune into the new moon live stream. You know, a lot of people have a lot more freedom on the weekends, so figured this would be a fun way to connect and get you all the new moon horoscope info forecast you need before I head out of town. Where would you recommend someone starts if they want to start learning in-depth astrology as far as transits? I would recommend here that you're already here, Cheyenne, and you're very diligent and dedicated. How I started learning specifically about transits was tracking the transits. So, last year I had this idea come in. I used to be a news reporter. And so I had this idea, well, I want a morning show that talks about astrology. Like, that's what I want to wake up to. I want to align with the energy of the day. And I'm like, well, why not me? Like, I've been studying for 10 years to do this kind of work. And I've also been studying astrology for the past, 5 years or so. So why not me? But I didn't know transit astrology very well. I just kind of knew, like, this is what it means if you're this sign, or reading a chart, or those things. So I started literally just tracking the transits every single day. And I started by tweeting. So if you followed me on Instagram, I would just tweet little blurbs about each transit every day. And that's how I started learning, because I knew I needed the muscle memory if I was going to be able to talk about this to you without a script or whatever. So I started doing that. And then a book I refer to all the time when I'm writing the transits, when I'm preparing for these live streams, and this is something that a lot of astrologers use, is Planets in Transit by Robert Hand. It's not like a book you're going to read that's, I don't want to say compelling, like a novel or anything like that. But for example, if you're watching this and you're like, okay, the moon's squaring off to Jupiter, I get what Olivia is saying, but I want more. I opened right to the page. So you can see in here, this, I feel like a teacher. This moon square Jupiter section, it's like 2.5 paragraphs, and it just gives you a more in-depth analysis of each transit. And this is something that my favorite astrologers, the Astro Twins, recommend this book. I've heard other astrologers reference this book. So this is kind of my study guide. Or if at any time I'm feeling like, I don't quite fully click with this transit, or I need a little bit more to interpret it, I always refer to Planets in Transit by Robert Hand. Also, there's a great website, astrologyking.com, and sometimes I'll just type in a transit and click on his website, and he has a description for what the aspect means in your birth chart versus what the aspect means just in the transits. And, the reason, while we're on this topic, you guys, while we're having this chat, the reason I don't give a horoscope every day, or like say, okay, Taurus, this is what today means for you, is because astrology is so much more complex than just your sun sign. And I realized that as I started tracking the transits, different transits are going to activate different parts of my chart. So that's why I like to encourage people to get a really good comprehensive understanding of their birth chart. So while you're following these live streams, while you're tracking the transits, you can say, okay, the moon is in Sagittarius. What planets do I have in Sagittarius? The moon is going to be bringing an emotional awareness to that part of my chart. Does that make sense? Okay, super helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you for asking. A lot of people lately have been asking me, how do I learn more? What's the best way to learn? And I feel like weird being like, well, just come hang out with me, come watch, like learn a little bit day by day. But I'm also working on some resources, hopefully in the next couple months, that I can direct you to on my website or something like that, where you can do a little bit more of a deep dive into your chart. Also, I offer readings if you want to understand your chart or what areas are being activated right now. But thanks for asking, Cheyenne. I appreciate it. Okay, well, today has been fun. I love you all for tuning in. Thank you so much. I hope that Mercury retrograde, you gain a little bit of clarity, or maybe a little bit of understanding of why you're going through what you're going through as Mercury retrograde harmonizes with the North Node today. And I hope you have some fun today under the Sagittarius moon. If not today, maybe make some plans to have fun tomorrow. The moon is still in Sagittarius tomorrow. So have some fun. Have some fun for me, if not for yourself, okay? All right, I will see you right back here tomorrow morning to talk through the weekend together. It's going to be a fun show. I hope you'll be there. And until then, stay curious. thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.